So, who really runs the show in India? Is it the president, the prime minister? And how do the laws that shape the lives of over a billion people even get made? Well, today, we're going to take a peek inside the engine room of India's democracy. We're going to break down exactly how its parliamentary system works. Let's get right into it. You see this building all the time, right? On the news, everywhere. It's this incredible symbol of India's democracy. But what actually happens inside? I mean, who's calling the shots? And maybe even more importantly, who keeps them in check? That's exactly what we're going to unpack.
Okay, so first things first. We've got to get our heads around the basic blueprint. It all boils down to one central idea.
And this is it, the big idea. In a parliamentary system, the government, what we call the executive, isn't some separate, isolated thing. Nope, it's actually made up of people from the parliament, the legislature. Think about that for a second. It means the people running the country are directly accountable to the people who make the laws. The government needs to keep the support, or the confidence, of most of parliament to stay in power. If they lose it, they can literally get voted out with what's called a no-confidence motion. It's a system where accountability is baked right in.
I love this quote. It really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's saying the Constitution and the system it creates isn't just some dusty old rule book for lawyers. It's a vehicle of life. It's meant to be a living, breathing thing that changes with the times and, most importantly, reflects what the people need and want. It's not static, it's alive. Okay, so we've got the big picture. Now, let's zoom in and see how the parliament is actually built. What are the main parts? You can think of it as a three-part team. You've got the president, and then the two houses, the Lok Sabha, also known as the House of the People, and the Rajya Sabha, which is the Council of States. The president, the Lok Sabha, and the Rajya Sabha. Together, they're the ones who make the laws for the entire country. You're going to hear this word, bicameral, thrown around. It sounds kind of fancy, but it's super simple. Bi means two. Cameral comes from the word for chamber. So bicameral legislature, it's just a fancy way of saying a parliament with two houses. And why two? Well, it's all about checks and balances and making sure everyone's voice gets heard in a country as huge and diverse as India. All right, let's dive deeper into those two houses we just mentioned, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Because while they're both part of parliament, they have really different jobs to do. So here they are. You can almost feel the different vibes, can't you? On one hand, you have the Lok Sabha, the House of the People. It's buzzing with energy because it's filled with people directly elected by you and me. It's the direct pulse of the nation. And on the other hand, you've got the Rajya Sabha, the Council of States. It's a bit more thoughtful, a bit more deliberate. Its job is to make sure the voices of the individual states are part of the national conversation. Two houses, two very different but equally important roles. This chart is great because it puts everything side by side. Let's take a look. So, who elects them? For the Lok Sabha, it's the people of India voting directly. That's why it's called the House of the People. But for the Rajya Sabha, members are chosen by the state legislatures, so they're there to represent the states. Now look at their key powers. This is huge. The Lok Sabha is where the government is formed, and, get this, it's also the house that can kick the government out. The Rajya Sabha, meanwhile, acts more like a review board. It takes a second look at laws, debates big national issues. And finally, who's in charge of the sessions? In the Lok Sabha, it's the speaker, and over in the Rajya Sabha, it's actually the vice president of India. Pretty different, right? Okay, so we've got the lawmakers covered, but who actually, runs the country every day? That brings us to the government's engine room, the executive. So who's on this team? Well, you've got the president, the vice president, and then the really crucial part, the Council of Ministers. And who leads that council? The Prime Minister. This is the group that's actually making the decisions and getting things done. Okay, this next part is super important because it can be a little confusing. What's the difference between the president and the prime minister? Well, think of the president as the head of state. They are the ceremonial head, the symbol of the country. They're like the company's chairperson. But the prime minister is the head of government. They are the CEO. They hold the real executive power, run the different departments, and make the day-to-day decisions. So the president appoints the prime minister and signs laws, but it's the prime minister and their team who are actually running the government. One is the symbol, the other is the doer. All right, for our last section, let's see how this all comes together. We're talking about democracy in action, what Parliament actually does, and how it keeps the government on its toes. So if you remember just one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. Parliament does a lot of stuff. It makes laws, it debates big issues, but its most important job, its number one responsibility, is holding the government accountable for every single thing it does. Period. And here's one of the coolest tools they have to do that, the question hour. I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. For the first hour of a session, members of parliament can stand up and ask ministers direct, tough questions about, well, anything. And the ministers have to answer right there, on the spot, and justify their actions. The whole country can watch it happen. It's a fantastic, very public way to keep the government honest. So let's just quickly recap Parliament's main jobs. First, making laws for the country. Second, being the place where big national issues are debated. Third, acting as a watchdog to control and oversee the government. And finally, holding the purse strings. They have to approve the national budget and all the taxes. Every one of these roles is absolutely essential for the whole system to work. And that's our tour. We've looked at the structure, the key players, the whole shebang. But, a system like this is more than just rules and buildings. It runs on a shared belief in democratic values, which brings us to one final, really important question to leave you with. Governments come and go. Power shifts from one party to another. So why is it so incredibly important to protect the system itself? The rules, the accountability, the space for debate, no matter who's in charge. It's something worth thinking about. Thanks so much for joining me.